Are we on the go live? I gotta get back to my studio thingy. There we go. Are we on? I see the chat, so I think we should be good. Audio okay, everything okay. I think we're rocking and rolling. So folks should start jumping in here, I think. Guess I can pull it up over here to make sure we're good. Live for 30 seconds. Come on. Let's go. I see the audio working. There we go. Everything's good, I think. Welcome to the live stream. First one. Make sure this is working over here. Oh, hey, look, there's me on my TV over there. All right, guys. Well, I think we got some folks going. So we're going to go down to the shop, which is right over here, and start building this engine. So really the first live stream I've done. This is probably a little complex for a first live stream because I've done some practice live streams with the Patreon members. So kind of just to set the stage here. Any questions you got, keep the chat going. The goal is to build an engine during this live stream. So that's my main focus, but I will answer y'all's questions as I see them. I've got it set up down there on the wall where I can see the chat. So this is, like I said, pretty complex, but it should be pretty good. So fire off the questions and stuff. I'm going to switch us over to the mobile camera here, and then you guys are actually going to still see me down in the, where's that, over here, the bottom corner. You're just going to have to look at an empty desk seat for the whole thing because, well, I guess I can make it smaller if I want. I can make this way smaller. But I just liked having both of them on there. So audio is good. Everything should be good. Nobody's freaking out in the chat. So we're going to rip on down there. If you've never been in my command center where I edit all my videos, welcome to the upstairs in the shop. My creaky staircase that hasn't fallen apart yet. The dog's probably going to come down here in a second. Got the Camaro, got the FD. Here, I want to sneak peek at the... This was version 1 of my cantilever suspension. You can see it back there. I just got the metal. Shock should be here today or tomorrow, so I can finish that up this week as well. The green RX7 over here, just give you all the whole shop tour real quick. I think it's coming around. It's going to be a little shaky. I don't have this on like a gimbal or anything, so excuse my shake cam, but this thing just chilling. Check out that purple blow-off valve. That's a new addition. And then this car right here, the black FD, that is the engine we're building today. So this is a REW 13B engine. It is the one that failed because of this hole in the side of a rotor. Look at that. Literally, I always say, building these engines, one of my philosophies is do it enough times, not to where you get it right, but to where you can't get it wrong. And I'm super stoked that the failure in this engine wasn't necessarily my fault at all. It's just bad machining and, the engine failed. So I've got everything clean. Front iron's already on here. These are just a baby little half bridge, just enough for the braps. You guys are going to have some streamception because I'm up there as well. But little baby half bridge. And then we've got housing, center iron housing. The one part of it that I did have a little bit of trouble kind of fitting up, and you guys will see as we get to it, this engine does have one-piece dowels instead of the 2 smaller dowels like this. So effectively in the engine from stock, you would have 2 like this. We're putting these one-piece engine dowels in here. That gives the engine block a lot more rigidity. Really, it gets you into the realm of like that comfortable 550 horsepower number without really having to worry about breaking an iron or really tearing anything up. A lot of guys too will replace these tension bolts with like the big 10mm studs, but those don't really do that much for your torsional rigidity because the tolerance of them is pretty loose. So these one-piece dowels are kind of a pain to get in. I had to literally hammer the engine apart. I don't know if you guys watched that video or not, but go check it out. It just, you're making the tolerance real tight, and when dirt gets in there, it just doesn't want to come apart. So I think, I can see y'all on the chat. I'm going to set y'all down over here for now. I'll get the view here in a second, or I guess I can check on it. How's it look? Oh, I guess I'm probably to point you at the engine. There you go. You can at least see the engine over here. And we're just going to go ahead and start start putting this thing together. So, JB Weld, I don't think I would trust that iron, or I guess that cracked rotor to JB Weld. And then the thing that sucks is like, maybe we should drill a hole in the side of that rotor. See how thin it is? I think I saw a comment about that on one of the other ones. So, just going to put a little bit of oil here. Just put some on my hand, on the face of this iron. I don't like to build super dirty engines, if that makes sense. So, a lot of guys will like spray a ton of oil in these things. Not really my speed. But, get that going. We'll grab our front rotor here. So I already went ahead and assembled all the rotors. So they've got all their side seals, corner seals. We're putting a stock rotating assembly back in this engine, so nothing too fancy. But it is what it is. So front gear side, go ahead and set this dude on here. I like to put my front rotor pointing up, you know. First one up, second one down. Makes it a little bit easier. And y'all keep me honest here if I start to get distracted talking about the chat stuff, but let's see. Off topic. 2 kilowatt starter, worth it if the car has no problem starting. Pango Lin is your name. Honestly, I think the 2 kilowatt starter saves all the RX8s that are out there, because you guys heard it on the blue one. The blue RX8 didn't want to start at all, put the fast starter in it, and it starts. The other one, and I don't know if Brandon's in here. I hope he's in here. He'll see this later, but my buddy Brandon with his FD, like modded a FD starter himself. So he took the RX8 starter apart and built like a modded one for his FD, and it cranks. So it probably cranks at 350 RPM. It's like, it's really fast. But good stuff. Make sure too, guys, you can build this with the eccentric shaft backwards. I've done it before. Don't do it. Go ahead and drop this in here just so this doesn't move. Get that thing squared up, and we'll do our coolant seals, some RTV, get the dowel O-ring on there, and we should be cooking. I'm going to assemble this with the short dowels first, and then once I'm ready to put the rear housing on, we'll set the rear housing down, or I guess pull the dowels out, set the rear housing down, and then put the one-piece dowels in all the way through. It's kind of a pain to get them in, so excited for that. Whenever we get to that point. What all we got? What questions? Yeah, starter's a Band-Aid. Tony West, thanks for your the really fancy looking GTR IC7 display. I rock it in there. Let's see, what would be the rough cost to turbo build an RX8 for a fun weekend warrior? Arden, the same price as my yellow one. I think it's like, how many pair of seats are we at now? Maybe 7 or 8 pair of seats. It's not terribly expensive. Oh, hey, you know what we almost forgot to do? Where's my apex seal at? Here we go. Before I get too far, let me make sure all my apex seals are going to go in. We got to go 6 for 6, right? I know it's going to be a little weird. I'm going to try to keep like the dead time to a minimum because I don't have music playing in the background. I know a lot of the people I watch that like stream video games and stuff, there's always something going on. So the something going on is me making all sorts of noise, I guess. Glenn, welcome from South Carolina. Yeah, I'm going to make the RX8 turbo kit ASAP, guys. I saw a lot of the comments, and that's enough for me to just go ahead and rebuild it. So getting this one done will be huge to then being able to reshuffle cars around. And once the cantilever suspension and the FD is done, then that one's like officially a roller. Because right now it kind of rolls, but there's no shocks. So just I have to put like blocks of wood in there to make it not fall apart. But it is what it is. We got like 88 people in here. That's pretty rad. So I've been doing these on Patreon, guys. Just kind of doing some testing. I really want to stream some like driving content, not driving like a real car. I'm just talking like Assetto Corsa driving, practicing for Pikes Peak driving, all that sort of stuff, just because I think that would be really fun. You know, I enjoy watching video game stream people, so why not kind of become one of them? So what's y'all's thoughts for that? It's kind of nice being able to see it. What do a pair of seats cost where you're from? Well, it's hard to find these RX-8s where I'm from in Canada. You can sell a pair of RX-8 seats, so you're going to have to do the math on this, but you can sell a pair of RX-8 seats if they're in like real nice condition for probably $300 to $400. So what I say, 7 pairs of seats? Can y'all count that high? There's literally like not that much money in that yellow car out there, guys. Like, I know I got a really good deal on it, like buying it for super cheap, but at the same time, a running RX-8 isn't that expensive either, so in the grand scheme of fun cars to play with, the RX-8 is probably still the cheapest, as much as y'all or most people complain about engine rebuilds being so much money or all of that. You know, what you don't spend up front, you're spending on the stuff you get to tinker with, which I think is really fun, you know? Like, I like playing with RX-8s and stuff because I get to play with them. You know, it's fun that they break sometimes and you have a reason to go work on, and if you just have a perfectly reliable car, to me that gets boring. I like to change things up. Mega. So I'm putting high tack on right now. I use this to hold the coolant seals in place. You can do it with, if you watch the building a 3-rotor video, you can do it with Hylamar. Vlad uses that green assembly goo, which I have over there. I actually used Vlad's method to assemble the rotors, do the old assembly goo method. I did put this engine back together with some aftermarket oil control rings that we know are rated for ethanol and alcohol fuels instead of using OEM ones. Not that there's necessarily an issue with OEM ones, but it was just, since this engine runs on E85 and we did have an oil consumption issue, I was a little bit hesitant. But this high tack is a bit messy, comparatively to other retainer chemicals. I really need to figure out, and I had planned on having Chuckles here, and Chuckles was going to be able to read the chat so I didn't have to, but it would be very fun to have text to talk, so like if y'all did like $1 donation, your chat message would get read out loud by the computer. I always like it when you guys do that. What's up, Letty? Nice and tedious here getting this done. And it'd be cool too, I think, for the next stream, if we're building an engine, or depending on how well this goes, which is just doing it is doing well, honestly. It's never going to be a banger on the very first one. But I do really want to try to get Chuckles here for the streams, because then he can kind of hold the camera or be on stream as well. It's just going to make it more interesting having 2 of us, definitely, than 1. Even though me and the dog, or I guess the dog and I, can make for some fun live action. But if y'all have ever been curious about building one of these yourself, this video will basically serve as that really long video I made a while back about building an RX-8 engine in one video, you know, because this shouldn't really take that long to get this together. Also, one of those other videos I uploaded, someone was commenting about spider webs. The high tack makes the little spider webs. Turn on super chat. Jeff, I'm pretty sure I turned super chat on. It should be on. Is it not activated? Am I going to have to go figure that out? Let me get this housing on here and I'll go see if I can figure that out in a reasonable time manner. Fresh tube RTV. Don't forget to RTV your corners here, guys. The super chat should be turned on. I had to like go through a whole process to get that set up. See, this is where this takes longer, because all these first time live stream deals that I got to figure out, that I didn't figure out while we were doing Patreon live streams. That's why I need a Calvin here. He could entertain you while I go fix that. Or like a person on the thing. I got, you know how to do through the XP tab on the phone. It used to have its own button. Is the super chat on? Top chat. I don't know. Okay. Bam, bam, bam. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. We checked our apex seals. Should be good there. We got to put a dowel O-ring on this housing. And we can drop this dude in here. And this goes that way. Alright. Y'all want to check my work? Dowel O-ring. We checked our seals. None of these coolant seals have popped out. Everything looks good. They're not twisted. All held in there nicely. We got our RTV. Oh, I don't really like that. Kind of popping up. RTV, we should be good. Drop this baby on here. Easy enough. Click. And click. Hey, there's a super chat. Perfect, it worked. I don't say, Jeff, I'm pretty sure I turned it on. It works. Dope. Sorry, I was distracted. This is kind of a key moment here, making sure I have all my checklist items completed. But I'm happy I don't have to go up there and turn that back on. That's cool. Castle speed view looked, but none are dimensionally accurate. Yeah, this is going to be hard for me to keep up with the chats, but that's okay. We'll go. Do the best we can. Use them for estimation. I don't really know what y'all are talking about. Y'all keep doing your thing. I'm gonna keep building an engine, I guess. I'll chime in when I see stuff. I didn't really know how overwhelming or underwhelming this was going to be, guys, so I'm sure it's only going to get more overwhelming, but at the same time, oh, that's a lot of high tech. We just keep going. High tech's like anti-seize, guys. It goes everywhere. Just making the mess. All right, dowel O-ring on there. I typically don't advertise what apex seals and soft seal kits and all this stuff. I just always recommend OEM. But I will say this is some not OEM stuff, but pretty nice stuff, and it's working pretty well so far. Knock on wood. All right, apex seals and springs, and then we can drop the center iron on. I guess here, let's see. How could I bring y'all closer? You guys want to be closer? This is going to be raw. Live stream as raw as it gets here. We're just figuring it out as we go. The multiple camera angles is me moving the camera. Alright, so I glued the apex seals together. That's a pretty good view. They're super glued together. These, because it's a half bridge, you don't necessarily have to do this, but they're two-piece apex seals. You always want to try to put the two-piece part away from your bridge port, just because it is, or it could fall into the bridge port, depending how big it is. So the front iron, the front rotor, you're going to drop these down and the two-piece parts up. On the rear, I'm hoping I can put them in the opposite direction and get these on the bottom. It's not necessarily an issue, but pro tip from the non-professional me engine builder. I've just done this a lot. Here we go. The other tip I learned from Vlad, one, don't drop anything down in your engine like I'm about to do. But two, is to get these little tiny springs as centered as possible. I've started to just keep an eye on how they've sat in these engines, on engines I've taken apart. And you can actually see, if they don't get super centered, how they wear funny in there. Oh, look at that. 1 for 1. Nice and perfect. Oh my gosh, come on. So what we got here? Way better view, oh yeah. You're welcome, Josh. I should go out and build mine with you, but I'm too lazy. I'll do it this weekend. You just gotta do it. Luna Vang, how much will the turbo kit cost? Honestly, it's probably gonna be a couple different parts. So you're gonna have the opportunity to get the manifold in the downpipe is one unit. It's gonna connect to your mid pipe. And then I'll also have an intercooler setup, so you could buy one or the other. I'm not really set on a price yet, but it's not going to be like cheap, but it's, I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll just say this, you're definitely going to get what you pay for with my stuff, because I don't like cheap junk, and I refuse to put my name on something that's junk. So it's going to have to be good. You better read that before it time's out. LOL, Jeff. I didn't see it, Jeff. Sorry, I can scroll back in the comments, but let me get these apex seals in here. Like I said, I have an engine to build, guys. This isn't a... This is like a double whammy thing. There's a lot going on. Look at that. 2 for 2. All right, one more. E85 flex fuel kit install to stock RX7 tuning video, please. Coming soon. Any chance you can do a top-down view? Yeah, I'll pick this up and go closer. Lord, static, a common cause of failure. To start from cool is a failed coolant seal. Yeah. Did you just say Vladimir? Yeah, dude. Vlad, we built an engine together a while back. It's the one in my FD. I went down to Vlad's house and we built an engine together. Made a cool video out of it. It was Vlad's first RX8 engine, and it was actually a hybrid. Oh, come on. Let me just get my hammer and hammer the apex seals in. If Walt's watching, he's going to give me a hard time. Alright, sweet. So now that we're here, I'll give you all a close-up view. Here you go. Y'all want to come check everything out. Shake Cam 1000. So apex seals are in. You can see the corner seals, side seals, oil control rings. Those springs are directional. You got to make sure you get that right, like the front or back of the front or back rotor. We got our dowel ring housing in here. I'm going to put some oil on my hand and just wipe all this stuff down with oil as well. Still got to put the RTV on this, and then we're going to have to put the coolant seals in this side of the center iron, because this is going to go on there like that. So we'll move y'all over here for a second. Let me do this little bit of RTV, and then we'll put those coolant seals on, and then drop the good old-fashioned center iron on there and do the old knee trick. So let's see. Just rebuilt the whole motors, major injector O leak, big pool fuel, still smells sure fuel leaking, sure, probably. Coolant seals, all internal seals are new. Yep. Honestly, guys, you guys are going to be stoked. Tomorrow, I am going to get something. And it's super rad. And if you didn't hear, like, this part of this whole live stream, me telling you I'm going to get it, I'm sorry, but you're going to think something tragic happened to one of my cars, but it is what it is. I'm playing the game. Alright, boom diggity. It's actually not the thing. It's not the top speed car. It's a different thing. But that's okay. Alright, so we're ready for the center iron. I'll bring you guys over here and show you this all close up. Let me make sure that I assemble the right side first. Alright, let's see. How's this for a close-up view? Oh, sorry, about knocked it over. Scoot you all back a little bit. The funny thing will be able So if you guys can guess what seals I'm putting in this deal with just seeing them, that'd be the funny part. Shoot, yeah, I'm pretty fired up. We got like 100 tens of people in here. That's pretty rad. Alright, so this is my anti-make a mess right here, and I'm probably going to make a mess putting all this stress on myself doing this live. This is live, no editing, guys, so if something goes wrong, I can't edit this out. We just got to keep rolling. And then this VOD, I guess, the video that's being created from this live stream should stay up on the YouTube for you guys to watch in the future. It kind of counts as a video, which I think is pretty sweet. These little syringes, you can get them on Amazon, like a whole bucket full of them for pretty cheap. They're not like a syringe for, you know, like a needle. It's just like a plastic little nozzle on the end, which is kind of cool. Keep everything ripping here. Nailed it. Do the outside. We already got our dowel ring and our RTV done, so this should go right on here. I'll do like a Q&A session at the end. How about that? For a more focused answering your questions versus right now. Albeit I'm pretty good at stacking these things up, I still have to make sure I don't mess this up. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Is this where if I had Calvin here, he could be reading questions, like entertaining you guys? There we go. Perfect. Who knows? He's probably watching this. Congrats. RA Seals. Good guess, Peter. Kind of. But not really. Let's see, what do we got? What is this going in? Josh, this is Richard's engine. It's going in the black FD that's right behind the camera here. It's one of those like real unfortunate rebuilds, guys. This car, we overbuilt it. You know, 460 wheel horsepower. The thing is partying. Richard drives his cars really hard, which I love. Because like out of all the other engine builders and RX7 owners that, you know, not to necessarily give any of my friends a hard time, but no one really drives their cars that hard. So it's nice to have somebody who like isn't afraid to do a second gear launch and just roast the tires to the limiter, you know? Like on a regular basis, right? How's my arm look? Because I'm sure I'm blocking the camera getting this in here. The main thing with these guys, you don't want these to twist. So you gotta make sure that's flat all the way around. And that High-Tac does a real good job of holding them in there, but you do have to let it set up a little bit. I've had certain, you know, different types of these coolant seals that like to pop out because they're so tight. So the other thing I'll say too that I've noticed, don't stack your engine in the dead of winter in your cold garage. Because all these rubber seals do not like the cold, and you're going to have a hard time getting them to fit. So I've done that, you know, down in Tennessee in the old garage. Had to get the old fire going, and then the shop would be warm, and like put all my engine parts by the fire so that everything was happy to go together. Don't want to mess it up just because of the temperature. And it's funny that when we built that 3-rotor engine, Walt's buddy Dustin, that machine shop we were at, his lathe that he has is like 6 or 8 feet long, right? Huge lathe. And he keeps his shop at a certain temperature because if he changes the temperature in his shop, the calibration, like the tolerance of the lathe, gets messed up. Which I thought that was, like, to me, that's just insane. But on a 6-foot lathe, when you're trying to go to like specific tolerances, the fact that it's, let's say, 2/1000ths out messes everything up because your tolerance of like you're machining a part for somebody is, you know, needs to be within a certain spec. So, High-Tac's kind of set up here. This is like the best fun part about this whole deal. Trying to get this center iron on here. Let me Y'all are just gonna have to like comment. I'm literally just winging this. So those are the Atkins coolant seals, I believe. Good guess. You have to replace the oil coolers and O&P when you're doing a rebuild after a spun bearing. Greg, I would, because if you put a bunch of metal shavings through your oil coolers, it's going to be in the engine the next time you start it, and I wouldn't want all that in there. Nor do I think it's actually possible to flush oil coolers. Like, what are they? The best oil coolers on the market are probably $500 a piece. So like, if you're stock RX8 oil coolers, you know, or stock FD oil coolers, just like go get another set of oil coolers for $200, put them on your car and rip it. If you have really nice ones, then yeah, that kind of sucks, but it's not worth it. Like, you're risking a $5,000 to $6,000 engine rebuild over a $200 oil cooler. Just doesn't seem logical to me. All right, I believe we're ready for this. So we've got, oh, that's a nice, I almost got that shot exactly how it was before. Okay, dowel O-ring, check. Apex seals, all the corners, check. Rubber plugs, that's the front rotor. The E-shaft is in the correct direction. RTV, all of our coolant seals, none of them have flipped over. So that's a big win. Everything looks good on this, so we can drop this dude on here. This is where this gets really fun. And it's nice too that the apex seals are glued together. We don't have to mess with it. I'm telling you what, guys, that's the smoothest I think I've ever done that in my entire life. 100% of the time. Alright, I just want to look at these coolant seals real quick. Alright, everything looks good. Nice. I don't think I've ever done that as fast. Like, I fell over. I don't think I've ever done that as fast as that. Just went right there. That's like perfect execution of the center iron install. One-handed with my knee. Sweet. Okay. Now, rotor. Yeah. Continue as instructed. Bring y'all back this way just for the far away shot. So we got our other rotor here. Put some lube in this deal and we'll be ready to row. Yeah, I see, let's see, mink vinyl in there, your oil pickup tube should be replaced. The only thing is though, this is what a lot of people don't necessarily realize about these engines, is that your oil pump pumps the oil out of the front iron. It goes through your oil coolers, and then it goes in the engine. So if you spin a bearing and the oil pump sucks up metal, it goes all through the coolers before it ever gets to your oil filter, which is just kind of inconvenient, you know? So I had been doing my Patreon streams at like, what time were we starting those guys? I don't know, 9 p.m. or something like that. And some of the guys in the Patreon are from the UK or Australia or wherever, you know, far away. And the one guy, his name's Cake Skull, he woke up at 3 a.m. to join the live stream. I just thought that was crazy. But super appreciate all of their support over there on the Patreon side. Rotor on. It's the rear one. We'll go ahead and check our apex seal corner here. Sufficient case, not really though. Specific. Castrol 1040, Shaza. What's your temperature, Shaza? Where do you live? It's like I'll run on cars I drive a lot, and I'm probably gonna change the oil in the green car. This will be a hot topic actually. We should talk about this. So we're going to do the cannonball run in the green car, right? Or have we already done it? Doesn't matter. But I think I'm going to change the oil and run a 1030 in the green car because I've got 2050 in it right now. And on these like 50 degree days, I can't get it up to temperature. It just like stays too cool. So I'm going to be blocking off the radiator and blocking off probably an oil cooler and doing some testing. But I think I'm going to go to a thinner oil. It just gets too hot. 010 2W2. Rad. Are you on Patreon? 10 2 Taj. Futaj? 2 Taj version 2? I don't know. Love the content. Working a lot on my RX8 lately. It's going into limp mode, and I don't know why. You should have a check engine light just 2EZ on the RX8, and it should pretty much tell you what's going on. I'm going to bring y'all in close because this is where this is going to get a little fun and tricky. I got to do these coolant seals here, and then I'm going to grab my tool, and we're actually going to slide these dowels out, set the housing on. Actually, wait. I think because only one of them really fits in there really well. I think it's this bottom one. So I'll put one of the dowels in, slide the housing on, put the other dowel in through the top. They just don't fit that great. It's kind of annoying. I don't know if they're bent or just dirty, but the tolerance of putting a rod all the way through, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plates gets a little tight. Let's see, what's the comment? When I scan it, it only tells me about an oxygen sensor, but I don't think that's causing it. Means your OMP messed up? It should do that. Do you do your own tuning? Peyton? Generally, yes. I had Ernie. I wouldn't even say that he did tune it. I had Ernie do the dyno stuff on the green card just because it's what he does all the time. So he's way faster at it than me. Meaning it's his dyno and he's a lot faster at making sure to get every cell and then operating the dyno and all of that. But I've spent a lot of time in the laptop since I got it from Ernie just optimizing some stuff to make sure that it's all super dialed, because there's still, you can tell a lot about your tuner by how well your car idles. And I've had to make some adjustments because it's wintertime now. The car was tuned in the summer, and I like the ability to just walk out there and bump the key and the car fires right up and it sits there and idles, and I don't have to be, weird about it. Or I have to put my foot in it or a little bit or do something else, So to me, that's huge, but that also does take time, and you'd have to take your car back to the tuner, if he doesn't get it right the first time or something like that. And so I think there's a huge value. A lot of modern car guys are hands off on their cars. Like, they don't work on them. They don't, they understand what parts they buy and put on, but whether a shop builds it or they just put bolt-ons and then take it to somebody to tune it. But I feel like there's a lot of value in knowing how to work on your own car for the sake of leaves you stranded in Kansas and you got to fix it, or, being able to accurately explain to the guy working on your car, like, what's going on. You kind of should, in my opinion, have an understanding of how everything works. But tuning is a little hard, and it can be a little, you got to pay your tuition when you learn how to tune, and most of the time that's blown up engines. But that's the only way to get good at anything, is to fail at it. So fail and fail fast. Ba-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. See, now if this engine fails, I can blame all you guys. You didn't hold me accountable while I put this thing together. It's not all just my fault. It would be nice if I could figure out a way to, I don't know, then again it gets weird because have like some background music or something for you guys. But I know with the YouTube stuff, you can't really. So then like this stream, building an engine, I got to make sure that I entertain you guys well enough and talk the whole time, so it's not just the dead silence of my shop at 7 o'clock at night. But I think like depending on what the topic of the stream is would be very fun. So I guess an interesting question for you guys. All right. I've talked with a few other YouTubers that I know and have filmed videos with, namely Rob Dom, Ben, Gears and Gasoline, Kyle Mohan, guys like that, and talked to them about my whole live streaming idea and the things I want to do, and they're interested in coming on and hanging out. So we should put together some topics. Y'all should comment right now some topics of things you would love to talk about with other people, because like I could bring Ernie on that question about tuning. It's kind of like a podcast, so we just do it live. But should I bring Ernie on and talk about tuning? Or bring Rob on and talk about going up Pikes Peak? or Kyle Mohan and talk about hybrid stuff. You know, especially when that car gets running very soon. So, what do y'all think of that? That's kind of my idea for this. I don't really want to do like a rotary podcast, so to speak, but it could kind of turn into like cool topics of the day on the live stream, you know, that are fun things to talk about. And I always like trying to learn, but also share that information with you guys once I learn it. It's always good fun. Okay, can confirm these coolant seals are a little too flimsy for my liking. I kind of like the OEM ones a little better. These look like they really like to flip over sideways. I just feel like with the OEM ones, I can just like buzz my fingers around real fast and it goes quick. But I'm pumped. Also, the other thing too, 6:30 was just more like a random arbitrary time that I chose because it doesn't really matter what time it is, but got people from all around in here. What's your preferred live stream time if there was one? You know? Should we live stream at like midnight my time, which might be a little earlier for somebody else, or what do y'all think? Did I already check my apex seals? Yeah, there's no grease in there, so I had to have. Sweet. From here, this is easy going. We already got the center iron on. Really, the only tough part's going to be these dang dowels. Oh, we don't want that. The heater's going to turn on. And you guys are definitely going to be able to hear that. Ooh. Off. Give that thing like 20 seconds, it'll shut off. Apologize for the noise. Okay, so I want to pull, I think it's this dowel will go through that. And I'll bring y'all closer here in a second, but basically, my X wore off. Okay, so I can go ahead and put this one in. One of these dowels doesn't like to fit into the housing very well. It'll go all the way through, but it doesn't want to go back through from the bottom. So like this one's going to stick up. We'll slide the housing down onto this one, and then I'll drop that one in all the way. But we got to pull these short ones out. Well, first, I really want to mark this again. My Sharpie go. It's pretty quiet. It's not horrible. It's not bad. All right, cool. Drop my X. There he is. Cake Skulls. We were talking about you earlier. Mr. Rat Big Boss, love the videos. Doing my first RX7 rebuild. Oh, I didn't really want to do that. Yeah. All right. Let me grab my little puller tool so I can pop those things out. Bang, bang. All right. So we got to slide these out. Very nice. And not let the engine turn. Let me slide. Oh, yeah. Slide those in. And then this one I have to do from the back side of the housing. So let me go ahead and put that dowel O-ring in there. We have 2 left, which is the proper amount we should have left at this point in our engine build. Come on. The other thing too is it's like I gotta, oh, where's this going? Right here. It's like if I film with a super wide angle camera, then the details are hard to show. And if I film with a narrow camera, like what I got right now, then I walk out of the shot. So it's like a balance there, right? We already checked all those apex seals. I'm going to check them again because, like I said, we do this to where we can't mess it up. You don't do it till you get it right. Do it till you fail to get it wrong. Okay. Slide this dowel out of here. Nice. Dowel O-ring, RTV, we checked all that. Coolant seals look good. Okay, we know that this one should slide down on that dowel. Come on. Oh, look at that. If you guys could feel just how nice that feels. And then this, the threaded end, goes up. Oh, look at that. I promise, where are you guys at? I promise I did not rehearse this. We're just sending it. I've been rehearsing it for 10 years, I guess. Building these engines. Dang! That's super nice. I'm very happy that went efficiently. I'll give you another little close-up here. What questions we got? Long dowels. This one is hollow, so the oil can come through the front iron all the way back like the stock one. You can see here that rear rotor housing is the one that was burning oil, where that cracked rotor was at, which is a huge win. This is just a nice street port, cleaned it up, all smoothed in, all pretty. I guess it's easier to show you back here on the rear iron that's not on yet. And then there you go, judge my porting. What do you think of my little baby bridge? I got a little overzealous right in this one spot. You can see where it's just a smidge wider and it's not perfect, but that's pretty dang good. And I'm happy with this street port too. Nice and smooth. All right. We got some apex seals left and the rear iron. Torque this baby down. So, how many of you guys watching this after seeing just how easy this goes together? Unedited, full raw. Oh wait, we want to do these down, don't we? Unedited, full raw. Think you could do this yourself. Oh, that super glue is going to be mad. Oh, and I just broke the tip of it off. Alright. We're just going to put these in the regular way. Because I'm not going to wait for this to dry. And on that baby bridge, I'm not really worried about it coming out. Okay, I don't really like that. Let's glue this one, do the other two. See if those will go in. Let's see. Alright, I guess I can show you this up close. Okay. Give you all a little background here. Alright, so this is an apex seal. Excuse my dirty hands. And this is the two-piece apex seal, right? Got the little corner piece. You glue those on, so then you can push this down into the engine with those down. And then they just don't flop out. The worry is, if you notice that that's two pieces, and you look at this bridge, the corner seal slides across this bridge, and you don't want that little cornery piece to be able to fall into that. So I think I'm gonna re-glue that because I really want these to go down. I know Richard's gonna drive the living wheels out of this thing, so because the center iron is just street ported, there's like no way that that apex seal corner can fall out, which is what we want. So I don't know, fun stuff. What else we got? Yeah, got a lot of stuff going on here, especially with the live stream. Jeff commented on that in the Patreon live stream. Was like, you're gonna get overwhelmed with all the stuff going on, and this isn't even a crazy one. So it's also raining today. Here, I'm gonna put y'all back a little bit so I don't feel like you're just looking at my dirty hands the whole entire time. Y'all can show up there. It's also raining today, so you'll hear my shop leak some water out of it every once in a while. Probably not, but I can hear the shop leak some water out. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going to try to scrape some of this super glue off without separating this because it has to go all the way down in there. And I also think I'm going to go ahead and put a couple little extra drops of super glue on the side of these just to make sure that they're going to stick together. Jacob Ball, what's up, brother? So I don't like to just pour the super glue on. I kind of use a little pick and just put it on there. And you really want to like fill the crack of the apex seal, not so much like lather it on the outside. And then that one that's broken, I'm going to have to scrape all that other coolant. Words and stuff are hard sometimes. I'm going to have to scrape off the super glue from this with a little razor blade, which is going to be really hard for you guys to see, but while I'm doing this, I can ask. Let's see, streaming techno stuff with an active chat can for sure be overwhelming. Oh yeah, definitely. Just a little bit. Not too bad, though. JRG, I could, but I need beer. Yep. What we got here? Eric is... Thanks, Josh, for your compliments. Here you go, guys. This is another Vlad thing. All y'all in here from Vlad's neck of the woods. Vlad gave me this E&J Apex Seal checker. So what this is for is it's got the tolerances on here for the length, and then also like if they're warped, and you actually slide the Apex Seal in this like that, and then you can see if it's straight or not. And this piece is like machined on a CNC. It's real sexy. It also works really well for gluing Apex Seals together and making sure you got them straight. Because if you get the corner piece just a little bit crooked, then they don't go in there either. So we're just going to go ahead and redo the super glue on this, just so we're good. Like I said, I know Richard's going to wail on this thing pretty hard. So... Oh, don't move. And this is not anything special for super glue wise. I think I got it at Walgreens. I don't know. Caliber brand super glue. So let's see. Oh, super chat. Soul Stealer. What an interesting name. Thanks to you and the comprehensive Rue engine build, I was able to stack my engine. She runs beautifully. Thanks so much for your team, dude. Mad Stoke. That makes all of it worth it. Vacuum lines look ridiculous even on your essay. Yeah. Renewable lubricant smells better than Idemitsu does. Renewable lubricants burns really clean, guys. So we've been running in this, which is really good, but it's very hard to find a premix for E85, especially with a lot of E85 miles. Need to, I'm learning as I go. Trying to convert my rat's nest to the solenoid box. Eric, what would you think about high 4s to low 6 compression? Is that like KPA, 4 point something? What's it in PSI? I don't do, I'd have to do the conversion. I don't forget the conversion. I feel like 6 something is 80s, right? So 4 is going to be pretty low. I was thinking just rebuilding it late for early March. I mean, Child's if it's running, like why change it? Oh, he just happens to see that super chat. Jeff, did you super chat earlier? I saw the one where you said, does this work? Is that the one you meant? Oh, come on. I successfully got distracted and super glued that to the thingy. Jacob Ball, do you have a merch store? Yeah, dude. I do have a merch store, but I don't have Hawaiian shirts on it, and I need to get some made. Would you guys buy a Hawaiian print shirt with my logo in it? Not on it. I'm talking in it. Like, printed into the thing. Like, this one's got trucks and flowers. Like, imagine one with little RX8s in it. Would you guys get an RX8's higher shirt? I sent 3. You will see them later. Yeah, I probably will. If it was at the beginning, Jeff, it was going crazy. Hawaiian shirts with a rad logo and a rotor on the back. Like, would you rather have it printed in the shirt, or would you rather have it put on a Hawaiian shirt, right? Like a logo on it. On it is way easier. In it is something that's a little bit hard to work on, you know? I think, Pangolin, I have it shipping to Europe. It should go there. I don't know if there's been like an update with all this tariffy stuff going on. I'm not like full on political following all this nonsense, but I don't know. I just really hope that these stay glued together and it goes all the way down in there, because this is always a worry to me. Because say I go push this apex seal down in here, guys, and the glue comes apart, and then that end of the apex seal gets all weird and it's down in the bottom of that. Then I got to pull the rotor back out. You know what? We should just do this. I wonder if I could do this the Vlad way and just keep the apex seal in there. But then if I pull it up, I'm worried about it breaking. Like I said, do it enough times so you can't get it wrong, and we're still learning. Not that we haven't battled this exact issue before, but... Oh, I just broke that one. I really don't like this. We're in a predicament, fellas. We got to get these apex seals glued. And I don't want to glue them to this thing. And I think it's probably because these were in this engine, so they're just a little bit oily, you know? I wonder if I put like a big dab of it right here. Look at this. I'll bring this up close. Trying to glue the tip of that on. Keep it straight. Not have it fall off once I assemble the engine. So this is kind of the inconvenient thing about doing gnarly port jobs, guys, is now you have to do all this special stuff, and then when it breaks, you have to do all this special stuff. The anti-meme. Yeah. I'll do a pre-order of a shirt. I'll have to figure out a shipping time on one, though, just to make sure that everything's transparent. I never want to be that guy that, like, takes your money for something and you don't get it. So it's got to be going. Why do you use two-piece apex seals, though? It's a street car. They're affordable. They work well. What's the best spark plugs to run for rotaries? Honestly, I run regular old yellow NGKs wherever they're. I just threw the box away. Nothing fancy. I don't make tons and tons of horsepower. I'm sure if you're doing all sorts of stuff, you'll run into some issues. But the other thing, Cake Skull comment there, two-piece apex seals are better compression. If you think about this, like the housing and rotor, everything has to expand. So if you have a one-piece apex seal, it has to grow. So you have to leave some tolerance for all that growth and thermal expansion. And that's where you start to lose your compression. So they do get a little weird. But I'm just like... Alright. This one's glued. So we're just going to go for it. Spring's gone forever. I'll bring you guys in close for this now. Apex seal install, super close up view. Let me get you aimed, and by super close, I'm talking, let's go super close. There you go. So, goal is to insert the apex seal. Let me just get the super glue off the outside of it without it falling apart. Okay. I'm coming. Give me a second. Give me a second. We might be here all day, guys, just for this one piece. So the goal is to get the little corner down into the bottom. Cover your ears. This might be loud. Oh, that's not that bad. So we got to get this in here. That just does not feel that good. See, like that goes down perfect the other way, which means there's got to be like a little bit of super glue on the outside that's holding me up. I forget the tolerance for these, but it's a real tight tolerance on how this fits inside the groove on the rotor. Alright, scrape a little more residue off. It's gonna fall out. Son of a gun. This is really annoying. Everything was going so well. All right. Need to let that sit just a little bit. Put more glue on that one. Let's try this one. See, so like here's this up close after it's getting glued together is like, I gotta wait for all that to dry so it doesn't come apart. I don't know. It's real interesting. Anti-meme, if you're messaging, who am I? I think I know who you are, the anti-meme, because your picture is the same as the Patreon one. Fun fact. See, I could do it kind of how Vlad does it, and he like puts the apex seal in the or in the rotor and assembles it. Gosh, I just don't, it just gets stuck on that glue. Do we run the risk of the apex seal corner and the bridge? Here we go. This is the question. Poll in the chat. Everybody comment. See if you guys know a ton. Do we run the risk of putting it in just the regular old way because it is a bridge port and we could definitely have an issue with it? Or how do we negate this? I could slide this housing back off, but all my coolant stuff is going to be weird. Or we try the old, we'll slide the rotor out, put everything in the rotor, and then try to put the rotor back in. I think we do that. Let's try that. Because then I can get these in there upside down, you know, and just like make sure they're not going to go anything or do anything weird. I think that's the ticket. All right, rotor back out. We're going to do something new. Lose any seals? Corner seals came out. See, and then like this situation, set you guys over there while I grab these corner seals out of here. Make sure we get them all right back in the right spot. What am I even doing? I got a rotor stand somewhere, don't I? Look at that. Shameless plug, get you a rotor assembly stand on the website. Put your rotors together. Make sure we get these the right direction. Make sure we don't pinch a side seal spring. Even though you got a bunch of assembly goo on them, so they shouldn't move around. What's the chat? Watching from Ukraine. That's wild. It's like you're in the shop with me from Ukraine. Okay, so now that we have that done, we know that the smooth side of the rotor is going to be the side we need to put the little corner pieces on. So I think I've seen people do this with like old oil control rings, right? Is that what y'all use for rubber bands? The thin ones? Pretty stretchy. So we like put a rubber band around the rotor. Okay. Because what this has to do is it has to hold the apex seals in with the apex seal springs under it, right? Oh, my audio is probably weird. Sorry about that. If the audio is weird, my bad. I turned my hat around backwards. Can you still hear me? Okay. That's funny. Wormy, I just saw this. Rad potential rebuilds rotary engine in 2 hours. Aussie mechanic, $15,000 for rebuild. Thanks. Yeah. These aren't that hard, guys. They're very easy. Not to take any business away from my rotary shop owners, but you could probably do this yourself. Okay. This one looks pretty good. There we go. All right. So that needs to go. Let me just do this with one rubber band on here for now. I'll bring y'all in close since we're just figuring this out together, right? How's this view? Good enough? Sick. All right, so we got to get this apex seal in here. These are numbered like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but the apex seals are numbered, but it doesn't really matter because as long as I keep the apex seal with the correct corner piece of it, the end piece. All right. So I assume we're going to do something like that. I need this on there to hold that together. That feels like it wants to just fly right out of there. We need our short spring to go down in here. This is going to get tricky, guys. Maybe I'm going to need like a bunch more assembly goo on these apex seal springs, which I don't particularly like the idea of, but if we can drop this down in here. Come on. Right there. We can slide him in without breaking the end of that off. The concentration is real. That's why that rotary shop you were talking about, whoever made that comment, charges $15,000 for a rebuild because of weird issues like this. Okay, so now that corner piece is in there and it's on the right side. We got one of them done. That's a win. And like all that super glue is holding that thing in there. So like I honestly wouldn't be opposed if I wipe this off to just put a bunch of super glue right here as well to just glue it to the corner seal. You know, like why not do that? Because I can break the super glue once it's in the engine, you know? So we'll just put a dab of glue right there too. And let that dry. That'll sit up, you know, in there, and then that way that piece just can't come out ever. Look at that. Rotor stand doing its thing. Alright. I definitely put way too much super glue on this one, so it's like graze some of that off. Ooh. Super glue my hand to my workbench here. Alright, let's see. There we go. There we go. Okay, that's pretty good. And I guess I could just do it as you normally would do that and just slide. This corner seal's a little out of alignment. And just slide it down like I normally would, right? So you would be here, and then we would go ahead and grab our big spring. And we'd slide our big spring in. That, and we grab our little spring. I put some pressure on this with my finger, like that. And then we slide this down, get it over the spring, or I guess my rubber band. Right now it doesn't matter if I push that bottom corner seal out. Boom diggity, just like that. All right. We got the second one in. Last one. Look at this. This is actually working, guys. This is pretty sweet. Okay. I got one apex seal spring that has decided to run off. Where did it go? Of course, it's probably under here or under here. It wouldn't have ran off very far because I had to sit it somewhere. Did you guys see me put an apex seal spring down somewhere? Go back in the video and find it. I don't think I had it anywhere over here. Oh, here it is. Perfect. All right, found it. You don't have to go back in the video. We can go back over here, and you can watch this last one go in. I really think it's going to be tricky to get this down in there, like this whole apparatus with these rubber O-rings on it in there. I don't know. I'm sure probably a bunch of you guys, this is probably how you do it because of this reason, right? All right, I'll check up on the... Initial Dave. The Vaseline works well to hold in, like I'm using this green assembly glue. It works well to do that with it. It's just not going to stay. You like have to glue it. So like this situation, I have to glue these corners on here because I want to install them upside down. And I'm sure you could like, there might be some other way to do that, but that's why we're doing this. I don't have a better way to do this than the way I'm doing it right now. Like we're just figuring it out. So I think how we got it right there, that should ride. We got them all in. They're all nice and glued in the rotor now. We don't have to worry about checking our corner seal to make sure they're straight. I'm just going to scrape this extra bit of glue off of here. All the super glue is going to burn off just like the Vaseline would, you know? At least in theory it should. Should we do the old 2 rubber bander or just 1 rubber bander? I see a lot of the Puerto Rican guys doing 2. So just going to make sure that none of those come out. That's the goal here. I guess I probably could just assembly goop them too, you know? So this is where you would put the Vaseline on. See how like I'm putting this grease down? It's not sticking where the super glue was, that's funny. But this grease will hold those in there. Ideally, right now, they don't fall out. So, we got that going for us. I'm flailing. We need this. Bam. Need some oil for the shaft. Might as well just do the rear stationary gear bearing spot too. And then put a little bit of oil on everything else out of my nice cooking pot and pan right here. Need to move the camera a little bit probably. A little bit of oil on all this stuff. Okay. Boom diggity. Alright, now this will be the fun part. Let's bring y'all in close. Right here. Make sure we got a good view. Nailed it. And we get to drop this rotor in here with these rubber bands. So, since the front rotor points up, this one points down. A little bit of extra assembly lube on that. Wipe my hand off. Okay. Don't really know how this is going to go, so we're just going. Whoop. The suspense is killing me. I can't see what's going on. Just as long as we don't hear any sort of weird tick or something. I think we're pretty much home free, aren't we? Look at that. What are the streamers? We need some W's in the chat because we just got this in. Look at that. Nailed it. That wasn't that bad, honestly. I don't know that I'm going to start like building all my engines that way, but that went right in there. Okay, coolant seals, a dowel ring, some RTV, tension bolts, and we're done. Look at that. Well, how much time we've been? We've been at it for an hour and 15 minutes, and we had probably a 15-minute hiatus here trying to deal with these apex seals. That's probably longer than that. I bet that was probably 20 minutes dealing with that. Heck yeah. All right. Rear iron. Let's grab the rear iron. One of the things too, guys, when you're doing one of these, put your oil pressure regulator on before you put your iron on the engine. It's way harder to get this tight with it on that versus if you do it like right now. It's easy to just put I think it's like a 27 millimeter socket or something like that. So, guys learning stuff though, that's a big win. Heck, I'm even learning stuff and it's my show. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna move this up just a second. Let's find a topic to talk about right here. Got any recommendations, advice on the best way to change engine mounts with the engine in the car for an FD? Okay, see, I can talk about that while I do this because this is monotonous and boring. So on an FD to change the engine mounts bolt through. Are you changing like the whole entire steel bracket that goes on the bottom of the engine or just changing the rubber mount? If you're just changing the rubber mount, then what I would do, if you have an engine hoist, hook a chain to the front engine lift point, unless you're one of those fancy show car guys that takes your lift points off. Then lift the engine up like a little bit of upward tension, unbolt the bolts from the bottom. You should be able to lift it up. I do think, honestly, that you have to take the actual engine brackets off the oil pan to get the rubber mounts out. So you're going to have to lift the engine up. You might try to, I guess you could also drop the subframe. Lower the subframe down a little bit. You should be able to slide the mounts out, slide them back on. In my opinion, if you have to take the things off the oil pan, it's going to leak oil. So I would reseal the oil pan if you have to actually take the brackets off the bottom of the oil pan. Just because the oil pans are glued on and those bolts that hold those engine mounts on are going to go through that RTV. And when you disrupt RTV, it just inevitably is going to leak. So, I don't know. That's my thing. But then again, you're going to go through and do all that work and clean it and reseal the oil pan, and it's probably still going to leak. So it's, I don't know, maybe it's a lose-lose situation. But my green car doesn't leak oil at all. So that's a huge win, which is honestly pretty rare. And my red car doesn't either. I guess maybe more cars of mine don't leak that leak. Buzz leaks oil a lot. That's why it's nice having a rock driveways, because you just don't know if there's oil in it or not. You're just rocking it. Bam, bam. Officially done with the high tack, which is a huge win because that stuff is messy. They changed their mixture at some point because the new high tack I buy is more red than the old high tack, which is rather interesting. So, fun stuff. You'll also have to, I don't know. I feel like the whole, does the fact that the camera moves around and is a little bit more shaky, does it bother you? Would it be weird if I like live streamed with a GoPro on my head and you just saw everything I saw? I don't know. Are you guys commenting on my Sachs KM24 or whatever I've got sitting over there? That thing is sweet. It needs to be in a golf cart. Or we all need to go and convince the guy that had that rotary golf cart I took to Deals Gap a few years ago to sell it to me so that I can have a rotary powered golf cart to do who knows what we would do with it, but it would be really cool. And I would drive it around all the time. I would probably drive it to work every day because I have like a 1 mile commute, and that would be really fun to rip that thing. Chest rig so we get the Christmas view. Oh, you know what I need to do? Put the coolant seals on that iron, eh? Then we're about done. Here you go. Close-up view for the coolant seal install. So these seals are like a square. They're not, you know, a O-ring per se. I mean, they're a rubber ring in the shape of a, what do they call this? A ellipse of sorts. It's some special name for the shape of the rotor housing. But you can't get them twisted. Otherwise, they're not going to seal. And the OEM ones have a nice, like, the inner one you could never get an OEM wood twisted. That would be, like, impossible. They're kind of fixed. But see, like, right here, how I got that twisted there, and now I got to walk this all the way around until I find the spot that is straight. All the bottom here. There we go. Hopefully y'all could see that happening. Live action on the internet, on your TV. Nice. All right, Jeff, I saw your comment right there. You didn't have to super chat it. He would definitely sell it. It just sits. Well, you should. I've never met the guy that owns it, so you should put in a good word and tell him that I would literally take it with me to Deals Gap every year if I had that golf cart. It would be the most fun thing to rip around town at Tail of the Dragon. Put some sound system on it so I can bump. And we just cruise around in the rotary golf cart. It's like, not that driving a car isn't fun, but like driving a car, I can't just pull over on the sidewalk and talk to people. But I feel like if I'm in a golf cart, you kind of get some excuses. You know? Print off like a faux, that'd probably go a little too far. A little handicapped card so we can park close to things and people don't get mad at us. I mean, we like rotaries. We're all kind of handicapped in some way, shape, or form. There we go. Nailed it. Nice and messy. All right. I got you. LOL. Sweet. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. So, mobile action cam. Let's do our last checklist, because this is the last time we're going to see this rotor for a while, ideally. Coolant seals, not twisted. We got that all dialed. We got our oil pressure regulator installed. We've got RTV along the edges here. We've got our dowel O-ring not installed. Look at that. Y'all keeping me honest here. I put the high tack down, but didn't put the O-ring in. Get that guy in there. Dowel O-ring check. Our apex seals are installed. We've got the rear rotor, right? Yep, in the right spot. It's pointing not quite perfectly down. We got to twist it just a little bit. I probably got the E shaft spun just a smidge too. Oh yeah, I did. There we go. That seems a little bit better. We were talking about the timing in that 3-rotor video because Walt and I were very worried about that. Or at least I was very worried about it. That looks pretty good. Okay, everything should be good there. We're ready to put the rear iron on. Look at that. Right at an hour and a half. Boom diggity. Clean up just a smidge of this little high tack off here. Okay, and we're definitely not twisted. We got our dowels in there. Boom diggity. All right, let's stack this baby up. All right. Good luck, little buddy. Hopefully we don't see you for a while. Sick. Drop that stationary gear in there. Just so we know we're timed right. I did put a cymbal lube in there, just so you know. More so I know if I have to come back here and check the video. Nice. It's fun for me, y'all getting to see this raw, because all I would do for like a video is like there'd be some stuff that I would cut out of this, but otherwise not a lot of it. So I'm literally just one taking my video, which is rad. Yes, Jeff, the oil control rings were on the back of that rotor. I completely assembled the whole entire rotor. You can rewind on the VOD if you want. Taking it apart was long, putting it back together was super easy and quick. What's with it pointing down as to the front one pointing up? Shaza, the one pointing down and one pointing up is so that these stationary gears, the rotors, are timed correctly so that they don't like hit the housing out of turn or something weird. So you have to get them lined up like that, otherwise the engine will not turn over. People will do it like with one rotor pointing sideways and the other one pointing the other way. Really, they have to be 180 degrees opposite of each other, or yeah, they just have to be pointing in opposite directions. Okay, tension bolts. Now we have another fun and monotonous task to do. Put you all somewhere before you fall down. I gotta drop all these washers on here, which is good fun. So let's get some questions going. I guess that is an FD engine, isn't it? Yes, it is. What else do we got? You should absolutely do more of these live streams. I will. I feel like this is going pretty well. We got 100 people in here, which is more, honestly, than I anticipated having. I definitely got to figure out, like, having more people or having Calvin or Chuckles, as you know him, here to, you know, help keep everything rocking. Like, just while I'm focused on something, he can be entertaining, which I think will be cool. I think it's also going to be rad. Oh, that's... Where does the Mazda one go? Comment below. Do you know? Cover your eyes because I'm going to put it in. But I enjoy doing this. I think it's fun because this is like what I do when I film videos, but it's just cool to do it live and to have y'all's interaction, you know, right away, right? And then I think too, once we add in, like, you know, this is the dream. Someone's going to take my whole thing. Garage built customs. Rad. Don't really care because I'll do it anyways. But I think it would be really cool to bring somebody on, like a tech talk, right? So like have Kyle Mohan come on. We do a tech talk and then Kyle and I jump in Assetto Corsa and like do some tandem drifting and stuff and just chat. And like y'all can hang out and watch and do whatever. I think that would be really cool. You know? What do you guys think? You think that would be cool? Because I think that would be cool. That's kind of my thought with the live stream thing is like, I don't think I build enough engines to like live stream an engine build every week. But I definitely could make some time on like Monday nights at whatever time to jump on the PC and we can chat cars and ask questions about the videos that week or do whatever. So let's see. Tell us about mods for this engine, 500 horsepower. All right. This is an FD RX7 REW. It's an automatic engine, which does not matter, but just if you ask about the little dot in the back. It's got solid one-piece dowels, one solid one and one hollow one. Those help stiffen up the block. As far as the rotating assembly, it is a stock rotating assembly now. Stock eccentric shaft, like OEM. OEM counterweight's going to go on it. OEM front counterweight. OEM unmodified rotors. At that horsepower level, you don't really need to modify those. The side seals, corner seals, all the springs, all the hard parts on the engine, or on the rotors, are OEM. Clearanced to 4 thousandths of an inch, 0.004 for the side seal clearance. That's OEM spec. That's on the big end of the spec. So nothing crazy there. Like I said, OEM corner seals, springs. The only aftermarket bit in here are the apex seals. And I mean, you could see it in the video. I can just tell you, it does have power seals, apex seals in it, which is not really out of this world or different or something. But power seals, E&J, RX parts, Goopy, RA super seals, you name it. There's a bunch of different companies out there that make them. Pick your poison on your apex seals. Everyone's going to have, sorry, I'm grabbing some tools I forgot. Everyone's going to have their own wicked way of why they run one apex seal versus another. I'm not here to debate with you guys which apex seal is better than any other apex seal. It's just better than an OEM in the sense of if you want these things to either warp or if you want them to break apart, then you got to choose from there, you know. I tend to like, on these higher horsepower engines, I think it's the norm, is that you want the apex seal to bend and warp versus crack apart and then go through your turbo and then be all sorts of weird, you know. So tightening these bolts is going to take longer than the entirety of the whole rest of this engine build, just so you know. Snark number 1. Is there a snark number 2, or is that shark number 2? That'd be funny. Did you need to have the rotating assembly balanced? No, this engine does not have any aftermarket like custom balancing done. It is an OEM rotating assembly. It has C-weight rotors, not that that matters, but they're both C-weight rotors. OEM crank. Really, the balancing, kind of 2 reasons to balance stuff. One, whenever you do rotor modifications, meaning like the scallops, you lighten a set of rotors, you face cut a set of rotors, you take material off the rotors, then you need to balance them because you remove material, right? Like if you cut a big chunk out of a car tire, it's going to probably wobble and go crazy down the road. So that's why you would balance it. The other reason you would balance one of these is because you want to spin an excessively large amount of RPM. So for example, like an FD engine, typically you could probably run 8,500 RPM on a stock rotating assembly, and that's pushing the limits a little bit. If you want to run 9,500, then you need to have that assembly dynamically balanced, and you probably ought to take some weight out of it because they could be a little heavy. I'm not a super expert with that stuff. I haven't built or really ran a lot of engines like past the 400 horsepower mark, 500 horsepower mark really, so it's you know, just me regurgitating other people's information. But what else we got? What do you think is best for street? Mazda Apex seals or aftermarket Goopy seals? Usually I rip my car in first and second gear. So Shazam, my thing would be naturally aspirated. Honestly, if you're going to stay under 8,500 RPM, a stock Apex seal is fine. If you're going to boost your engine, then I would suggest an aftermarket Apex seal. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but you're probably the person from Ukraine. What about balancing seals? They have their weight itself. Whoever dynamically balances your engine should have an account on how they balance to take into account the weight of the seals and the weight of everything. I've got some time scheduled with a shop who's going to do the machine work on the RX7 engine in the green car, or I guess the REW engine, which is like this, but the one that is in the green car. And this winter we will go to a shop that does all the balancing in a rotary, and I'll film a video for you guys. Starbucks, where is your dog? She is probably laying right on the other side of the workbench in her bed, sleeping. Wondering if I need an LSD specific oil or the normal 7590 GL5 for the diff. Is it in an RX8, Dominic? If it's in an RX8, it has a limited slip. I would run something with a limited slip additive. If it's a 1978 first gen with an open diff, then you can run regular gear oil. But something with a limited slip, I would definitely run the limited slip stuff. The torque order here, guys, I used to have it printed on the wall. I'm not one to say that I have it memorized, but I will say this. Is it super, super important that you do it perfectly? Probably not. Just work from the inside out. I'm doing 10 foot-pounds right now, and then I'm going to up this to 20. But I'm going to go around this engine until every single one of these is at 10. If you can imagine all those spring-loaded apex seals and side seals, all that stuff, as you clamp this engine down, has to compress. So I'm actually shrinking the engine by tightening all these down, and you don't want to do that out of order. Any plans for my Cosmo AP? I assume that's the RX5. And Gage, my plan is, this is down the road, obviously after or during the top speed stuff. Like, here's the deal. The more successful we make this, the more crazy the builds can get and I can do. Like, I love building cars. It's what I plan to do. We'll do it within whatever budget I can afford to do it at, right? So, the Cosmo, what I really want to do to it is I really love all that drag and drive stuff, but I couldn't bring myself to like build an RX7 first gen drag and drive car. It would definitely be more competitive than the Cosmo, but I do think that a Cosmo with like a 2810.5 on the back, slick, would be a really rad drag and drive car because it has like all the room from the back seat for a cage and stuff. I can make it all sorts of safe and plenty of room for bars. It's got a factory like 4-link in the back already and double wishbone in the front, which would probably go away for the sake of some custom tubular front end, but that would be what I would want to do with that car. It's so hard to find parts for them, but it would be cool. I always say too, if you're going to race your car, you have to be willing to crash it. And I mean, am I that attached to the Cosmo? DJ would probably get mad, but no. So it's not too big of a deal. Cake Skull's got an RX-8 with 97,000 miles. Dude, that blue RX-8 Cake Skull, the one I took the engine out of and failed miserably to rebuild, it had 140,000 on that original engine or something like that, which is pretty gnarly. Yeah, Gage, I've often had the thought to just make the Cosmo run and drive, but at the same time, I have a bunch of cars that already, like, quote, just run and drive, so it's not really, like, super cool in my head, you know, to like have a bunch of halfway put together cars. I'm kind of getting to the point now where I like want to have pretty nice cars. So like if I could do the Cosmo up as a drag and drive car, you know, when that happens, it would be probably a 2810.5 small tire, a 9-inch that's narrowed, a proper 4-link in the back, a fuel cell, full cage so that it could run like 750s probably, so it'd have a funny car cage or whatever in it. The funny car hoop. The DJ's in here. I won't crash it, Daryl. But all the cage work with the Cosmo, you like can't get glass for it, so all the windows would be Lexan, which is cool. Optic armor. I would probably keep it all steel because the car's really not that heavy. But that silver one is I already have a bunch of like front end rust repair done. So sorry, DJ, but I'd probably cut the whole front end off the car and rebuild all of that in a tubular structure. I bet that car with a normal like REW or even just a cheapo 6-port and a big turbo, like if it was 500 horsepower, 2,600 pounds, sorry, I'd probably put an automatic behind it. But an automatic, you know, turbo 400 or 8 HP or something, like I bet that thing could run in the 8s, you know, with a fully studded crazy block making 700 or 800 horsepower, which would be pretty rad. So let's see. I'm just going to go around and check all these again to make sure we go. Jeff, we should go live next week. Do you want to go live, like, where we're going? Or do you want to just go live at some point, or what? Like, here at the shop, I have crazy fast internet, so everything seems to be working pretty well. With, like, the wireless camera, my wireless mics, everything's connected on the Wi-Fi. You know, me being able to see you guys over here. If I'm going to go live, like, just from my cell phone somewhere, then that's going to be a little bit tougher. Last round of torques right here, guys. 30 foot-pounds. The factory spec is 27. 30 is an easy number to remember. Picked up an RX-8 for myself last week, thanks to you. Awesome inspiration. Love the live stream. You're welcome, Greg. Not exactly the most eventful live stream, but we did build an engine, and I definitely would say if I had another person here, which I think I want, that this would be way more interesting. But this is definitely more interesting, in my opinion. I just didn't want to do a live stream where it's like, here, let me sit down in front of my cell phone in my shop and just answer y'all's questions, because I personally think that's boring when like automotive or other YouTubers do that. So I want to see it like, I want to see a live stream where something's like getting done so much, but also where like it's a balance of, you know, not to give Ben and Ben a hard time, but they like, it's just funny. They did like a 4-hour live stream changing a door handle in an FD, which is kind of a pain, and it's an FD, so it's working with glass, but like, we just built a whole engine in 2 hours and 40 minutes, or 1 hour and 40 minutes, guys. So, and like I said, Benjamin Williams, I have 7 RX8s now because of me. I'm sorry. My bad for the inspiration. They're just such good cars. Buy them all right now, and you'll be the guy that had, like, all the RX7 owners did, that have owned their car since, like, 2001, and they paid $7 grand for their FD RX7, and then now it's like a $50-something thousand car. Okay. We're done, guys. It's stacked. That's the end of the video. Peace. Shutting her down. Just kidding. Let's turn this over. We still got in play. That's a win. We got to make sure that this takes less than 20 foot-pounds to turn over, and we can hear all the whooshes. Over-torquing the tension bolts can put them into yield once the temperature miles inspect the torque for a reason. Howard Coleman actually has a detailed write-up on tension bolts and yielding. The interesting thing, Mink, okay, why is it that, like, if we're going to torque, so these are definitely, you torque them to 30 because they're going to, or to 27 because they're going to expand. Now, 3 foot-pounds out of 30 is what, 1%, 10%? Is 10% of the number, right? So, yeah, I guess that is a pretty good increase of torque, but when they do those studs, the like through studs, man, they torque the crap out of those. So I wouldn't think that I could break one of these tension bolts. I don't know, maybe I ought to just go chuck one in the vise and see how tight we can make it, right? Let me grab my 19mm socket. At the end of this, we'll take a little shop tour, just hang out while some of y'all are here. Check it out, do whatever. The other projects, y'all can just keep firing away questions, but all right. Oh, we're good. That's super easy to turn over. I think we're good, guys. I'm not going to bore you with dressing the front of it and doing all the end play because I think that's kind of boring and is going to take a lot of just tedious my time, but it's a heavy socket and my detents are wore out. I apologize for the calamity. All right. Give you the full tour of this freshly built REW engine. Look at this. Ready to make 462 plus or minus horsepower in that FD. Easy enough. All torqued. We got our in play. Still got to, assemble the front, assemble the rest of it, but ready to rip. I'd say that's a pretty huge success right there. They should be torqued to yield. To be interested to see measure a new one versus old one that's been used several times. Yeah, Jeff, that's the interesting thought too. It's like, I don't know how many times those tension bolts have been put in an engine, but I never throw them away, and I've never been told ever to replace them, so that's an interesting thought. Living in Central Florida, RX8s fall from the palm trees. Yeah, DJ, they're everywhere. They're even everywhere here. You just gotta, now they're starting to get rusty. Shane Duncan, what are your thoughts on putting a turbo and stud in an S4T2 block with the stock rear iron? Okay, so Shane, this might be a hot take, all right? Might be a hot take, and I'm not going to necessarily say this put me in some hot water or something, but I personally don't think that the Turbone 10mm stud kit that goes in without any machining actually adds any torsional strength to your block. They don't fit tight, they fit loose. If, in your case, you put that stud kit in, okay, and you have a stock dowel, the dowel has to break before the studs are actually going to start to add any strength. So, I don't know. That's my thought. That's I don't know. That's my hot take. Like I went to school for engineering. I took material science classes. I know a good bit about metallurgy to some extent and understanding interference and talking with that machine shop guy who's going to do the work for the green car. Like, I don't think it works. Like, I think it definitely helps with clamping force, right? The studs are way thicker, they're bigger. If you're running 60 psi of boost, you could stretch a tension bolt out. I definitely think that that's where it helps, but I don't think it's going to necessarily increase the torsional rigidity of the block. That's just my thought. So let's see, what else? Absolute facts, yeah. See, and this is another thing too that I've wanted to do. I just don't have the wherewithal to do it, or it would be a very whistle and diesel-esque video. I want to stack a rotary engine, bolt it to something, and then put a bunch of weight on the back of it. So when you launch your car, right, the engine is spinning over this way. Okay, so the engine's spinning, towards the driver's side of the car. Like you're looking at the front of the car, it's spinning like this. So when you launch your car, all the force is going into the engine in the opposite direction of its rotation, right? It's trying to rip the rear iron off this way, looking at you, looking down the front of the engine. So I want to bolt a rotary to something and put a bunch of weight on it and try to rip the rear iron off and see how much force it takes to actually rip the rear iron off. Because, like if you just start gradually adding force really slow, it's definitely going to be less. If you shock it real fast, or gradually adding force is going to be more. If you shock it real fast, it's going to be less, right? But I'd love to do that and then put the turbo and stud kit in it, do the same thing, and then take a block that's machined for, in a perfect world, you add, 1/2-inch studs and you drill it all the way through and their interference fit. And I don't know if you, Shane, watched me put these one-piece dowels in, but you're going to have to hammer them in probably, or tap them in or whatever. It's going to be tight. But I bet that block is much more resistant to that quick loading situation. I don't know. Forgot they made auto RX8s. Dominic Udovic. It's just rad, the reach of all this stuff, Autos are dirt cheap. The only thing that sucks is that if you buy an automatic RX8, they don't just, it's not like a FC or an FD RX7. You can't just put the manual trans in it and have a manual. You have to change the body control module and the pedals, which is, okay, not the pedals, the body control module, the cluster, the ECU. So much stuff has to be changed to do an auto to manual conversion in an 8, which is just kind of annoying. So it's like if you're going to do a REW swap, like what I did in the green car, I think you could probably do it with an automatic chassis and put whatever stick shift transmission you wanted behind it. Because your CAN bus overriding some things, the ECU is getting changed. I don't think it would flip it out. I don't know. I'd have to ask Sean. But pretty common failure after clutch change because gearbox make it own tight on engine block. So I'm just going to call you NT because it's the first two initials, or it's probably not even NT. It looks like something I don't understand necessarily. I should learn it. But are you saying that when you tighten the bell housing bolts, it breaks the engine after a clutch change because the gearbox makes it too tight? You're missing the lower left bell housing bolt. Brandon, what's up, brother? So yeah, I don't know. I should scroll up. What's that last one there? I missed the conversation would be gold. Nice, easy video of a conversion would be gold. Oh, yeah. Converting an auto to a manual. Yeah, that'd be... Like, if the RX-8 was a $20,000 car and an automatic was $10,000 and you could do the swap for $2,000, then yes, that would be worth it. But considering right now a manual RX-7 is only... Or a manual RX-7. A manual RX-8 is $1,000 to $2,000 more than an automatic. It is not worth the effort that goes involved. That's just my opinion. Have you thought of viewer submissions of their RX-7s and RX-8s? I mean, like, Daniel, what do you mean, like, viewer submissions? Like posting pictures of people's cars on Instagram or YouTube or something? Cake Skull, the plug and play should make the manual swap easier. I 100% agree. It definitely should. So, I mean, same thing like with my green car. If you had an automatic dash, this part in your 8, dust this off. Just scratch the lens real quick. It's all right. We'll have other ones. But an automatic cluster has like the Prindle in there, and then the tack only goes up to, I think, 7,500. So you're just going to hang in it in the red zone on the stock tack. But you could easily do a IC7 instead of the stock dash, and now you're good there. Lucas Medina, you have a video for reinforcing the clutch pedal assembly on the RX-8. Mine snapped yesterday and had a friend weld it. I've broken 2 of them. I actually have a plan in my brain. It's going to go on the website very soon for a reinforcement bracket that I'm going to make, and I just got all the plate. I'm going to bend it up, and you will bolt this to your clutch bracket. So you won't have to weld it. You'll be able to take them. I would advise taking a mint condition one. You take your clutch pedal off, you drill a hole in it, and you bolt this piece in there, and it should strengthen it up. That's my thought. You could weld it in if you wanted, but I want to do that. There were several cases when dudes were changing clutch, they were losing compression in rear rotor. My guess that is because of the tension of the gearbox on back iron. My name is Paul. Okay, Paul, that works. That's so gnarly that I wouldn't have guessed that was Paul. Not like in any negative way. Interesting. It's so cool to think about other languages and stuff. What happens if I use RTV instead of coolant seals? Andrew Fast, I don't know. Do it and let me know. When I swap my RX8, it'll be going to an 8-speed. Cake Skull, are you gonna do the whatchamacjangle 8 HP? That would be rad. The anti-meme, I will buy that. Yep. I have a bunch of orders right now packaged, ready to go out. I've actually got to ship this the trunk floor from the FD, and I need a bigger box, so I got to go into town tomorrow. I'll drop all those off and get a bigger box, but that stuff will go out. And Lucas, the main reason I want to make that clutch reinforcement piece, whenever I do the built motor and stuff in the green car, I'm going to have to upgrade the clutch, which is going to make the clutch stiffer, which is in turn going to put a lot more force into that clutch bracket, and that one isn't broken right now. So I want to fix, the fact that it breaks before I break it. But it's Pasha, but easier for foreigners to use Paul. I don't mind Pasha. I can kind of see that definitely out of the letters there. B&O HP, really cool transaction. Watts aftermarket support for it. They finally cracked a TCU on them, so it's fully tunable now. That's rad. When my RX8, I bought a bracket from eBay super cheap, and also welded the back up, held for 30k miles until I sold the car. That's awesome. Gauge. Let's see. I missed this one, so I want to scroll back up and see it. DLT, rebuilt my S4 6-port and street ported it based on mainly your vids, running strong about 2,000 miles in. Appreciate the comps boost skin rotors. It's an RX7, starts almost every time. See, the RX8s start every time. It's just the RX8 is such a better car than an RX7, Is it possible to put a one-rotor turbo from a 13B? Have you ever thought of building one? Fish, yes, you can. You just have to buy the one-rotor E-shaft, and then I think is the front iron different? I'm pretty sure you could probably get away with just buying the one-rotor E-shaft and the counterweights and stuff from Atkins. It's pretty expensive, relatively speaking, but it'd be good. Wonder if there would be interest for a giveaway. Jeff, I really think in the next live stream, what I want to do once I have like the super chat things figured out and it's a little bit more dialed for that, is to whoever the highest super chat is for the whole entire chat, I will either send them a t-shirt or send them a signed Hot Wheels car or something. I don't know. I think that'd be really fun. Showing videos are amazing for rebuilding these rotors. See them rebuilding my RX. Yep, I'm pumped. All reused parts use RTV and it has a little condensation, but it had that before the rebuild. Condensation like in where, Andrew? Like the oil? Also have to modify the rear stationary gear for one rotor. Oh, that makes sense, Cake Skull, because you would only have one gear side of a rotor. Thinking. Need to open a store, can never have enough rotary / RX7 t-shirts. Surthux, I have one. You can go on radpotentialracing.com. There's very few t-shirts left. Very, very few. But I think there's a few sizes still on there. I should get some more. Could I machine the 13B E-shaft myself? I have access to CNC mill and a lathe and a lot of time. Fish, you definitely could, I think. Just go look at the Atkins rotary one-rotor E-shaft, and that's what you kind of have to create. You just need to knock one of the lobes off and shorten it. So, you're going to be, because it's kind of off-center. I would assume there is a center line of a certain diameter through that shaft. They are kind of like cast machined. I don't know. I'm not a pro machinist, but I bet that guy, Dustin, he would know what's up. Let's see, what else? 114 minutes, guys. We probably ought to close this thing off at 2 hours. So we got 16 minutes left before I lose my voice. I got to get something to drink. So excuse me for I'm drinking something in front of you, but why don't we have a nice change of scenery and we can go out here and talk about cars and stuff. But then I still got to be able to read the chat. All right. We'll just pause here for now. What else we got on here? More rotary merch, yes. I will make a Renesis 1 rotor one day with worker. Can't order the man, it won't ship to Romania. Holy cow, I didn't ever think I would ever ship something to Romania. That's wild. Is it possible to do a 3 or 4 rotor from 12A housings and rotors, or would that be a waste in your opinion? There's a guy that did a 12A 4 rotor at one point. I know, I saw everything for sale on the internet. Love your content. And well, we're too far away from the thing. Trying to get my first annoying thanks to your videos. Okay, so I'm gonna pause on the comments and stuff for just a second because I'm gonna propose to you guys a random idea I had the other day. So here's the deal. I'm building this FD, and I think this is going to kind of replace my first gen as the track ain't care missile, meaning like I am definitely not going to care at all if I stuff this into a wall because it already got stuffed into a minivan. And the first gen is pretty dang nice, so I might put like carpet and AC in it and like make it more of a street car and more street friendly and kind of untrack it instead of going like full aero. I still want to do all the Group C wide body stuff on it, so that'll happen, but this could definitely be the track car. So I would plan on kind of building this as like the missile, right, to rip around here, you know, and kind of be more rally-ish, put snow tires on it, right? But I think I've got a Bridgeport 12A that spun a bearing, so I'm going to take that apart. Like, we'll do this all in one video. I think I could do it in a weekend. And I want to take that Bridgeport 12A apart, grab some used 12A parts, stack it back up, take that engine. I've got a first gen out here that's been wrecked, but it's not really rusty and it has GSLC suspension under it. So take that first gen, shove that 12A in it. This wouldn't be like a titled street vehicle, but pull all the front fenders off of it, make like a Mad Max looking bash bar, strengthen up the struts, and then have a stripped out, fully ain't care rally first gen, because I could put rally tires on it and rip it in the fields and stuff all winter. Like, I would even take the doors off of it. I think it would be gnarly. And I could build that so easy. It'd be like 3 wires. I wouldn't really have to care. It could have a windshield or not have a windshield, you know? And like the FD, as much as it's like, it's getting pretty nice. Meaning like I've got a lot of time in it and I really want to make it fast. I think it'll decimate at the track. So, I don't know. You guys have to let me know about that, because I think that would be pretty rowdy. We'll pull the old bridge from the rally car that's down here and just freshen it up for some, basically a cheap, crappy rally car instead of what the Colt did. So, S2 R3 parts that ships to EU. Safi, the guy right below you, Cake Skull, is the guy in the EU, or I guess you're saying Europe, he's in the UK, but he's helping me get some parts from there. So I don't know. Interesting. Let me know. That thing, the Skittles FD, it's just going to be too... Dude, with aero, if that car's 2,500 pounds and it makes 300 to 400 horsepower, even 450 on that Renesis engine, it's going to wreck everybody at the track. It's going to be so fast because I can fit massive tires under it. It's got RX7 suspension. It's going to be really fast. So, I don't know. I've done that rotor stack, stacking parts tray. So, yeah, I don't know. We could, like, I don't know if panels bordered black. We could flat black the first gen, make it gnarly. So, I don't know. Comment below. Joshy Bang Bang, solid corner seals, good or bad? I think if you're a drag racer and you're making a 700, 900 horsepower on a 2-rotor and you're rebuilding your engine after every 6 passes, that solid corner seals are better because they're not going to fall apart. I think if you're building a street car, that normal OEM corner seals are probably just fine. There's a significant compression difference between the two, at least in the couple of solid corner seals that I've tried and tested, but you can get around it. I just don't think it's worth it. Some of them are a little hard, so like putting a lot of miles on it wears out irons. There's sacrifices with everything. This engine, what's gnarly about this one is that the This one had a bunch of those little rubber plugs out of the corner seals. It had only been running for 2,000 miles, and I think half of them were gone. So, can I send a 13B Roo to you for a half bridge? Cow Doodles, does that mean I'm going to be rebuilding it, or what? Or are you just bringing me irons? I bought them for my rebuild, sadly. I mean, Josh, they're not going to be bad. It's just like, it just is all what use case you want, right? What are you going to do with it? Just say no to solid core, so I was cringing watching Walter put them in his 20B. Yeah, I don't know, plus or minus. Walter, that engine is like very overbuilt. I don't know if he's watching, but it's going in an FD T56 with a big differential and stuff. He's going to put a lot of horsepower through it, and it's probably good that it has solid corner seals. So just because, you know, if it's a pump E85 tune and you get stuck somewhere on pump gas or boot, you know, it could just be, it's a good safety plan, but I wouldn't, like, I'm not saying all of you guys should do that as a safety plan. I'm just saying he's going to be ripping that thing with not a lot of miles on it. So it'd be like, turn it up to 25 PSI and rip it, you know, 5 weekends a year. So solid corner seals won't hurt him. But, like, for example, the green RX7, since it's been running, it already has 2,200 miles on it in less than a month. So, like, I drive this stuff a lot, which is why I don't like solid corner seals if they wear out irons, right? So, every motor I've used them in fall like hell to get them started. Yep. Cake Sweet, glad folks are getting use out of it. I had fun designing it. It's rad. So, yeah. This is pretty rad, guys. I kind of like this whole stream thing. It's really unfortunate, though. I can see the likes. Maybe I need to... Should I go like my own stream from my own account? Can we get 20 likes on the stream? There's 100 people watching. If 5 to 10% of you, 20% of you hit the like button. Can I active... There, the like button went up. Nice. Hey Eric, my 13BRE street ported engine starts on one rotor for a few seconds. On cold start, when left for a few days, gets better with new plugs. Has IG... Oh, that comment moved. I didn't get to read it. Gets better with new plugs. IG18 cold. It's not the issue. Compression is great. I would check wiring. At that point, Rolk. What's the biggest rookie mistake you've made while rebuilding? I had my 12A center iron standing on my workbench and accidentally tipped it over onto a rotor and ruined the surface. Devin, the biggest mistake I've ever made rebuilding an engine? 2 of them, actually. 1, I built an engine with the E-shaft in backwards. Don't do that. And I had to take it all back apart, put it back together. The second one is, I put an engine together, and I put this gear on backwards, okay? This gear right here. On an old school engine that's carbureted with a distributor, this has to go on the right way. There's a chamfered thing. If it's on wrong, your timing is off by about 5 or 6 degrees because it drives the distributor. And when your timing is wrong and then you can't get it started and then you stab the distributor and get it running by eye and then it detonates and blows up your motor within like a week of it running, you get really mad. So don't put this gear on backwards. Oh, Steven, my phone says 106 likes. It just says 8 on here. I could go over there and show you. IRP corners are great, but they seem to have shut down. Yeah, Bathurst rotary engines. Eeyore, they had some crazy stuff go on. I don't want to speak for Eeyore, but he's an awesome guy, making everything right to the best he can, and I'm stoked for that. He'll be back. 87 likes, 106 likes. Well, either way, just go like the stream. Hope you're having a great night. It's good. Maniacally happy. Love that name. 130 engine harness is brand new. Yeah, but Rook, that's the same thing. It could be a brand new harness and something could be pinned wrong, or if it's running on one rotor, I guess we'll say this. I could point you in the direction of who tuned it. Is it flooding itself? Are the plugs too rich? Is the timing correct? And you could have a coil going in or out. Like the LS coils from Buzz are still in the trash. I probably ought to take them back out so I could like sell the bracket for $10. But I don't know. That's the thing. Refresh the page. We got 136. Should I refresh my own page? I am reading the comments on this, so you're going to have like a 2-second break. But there's lots of things to check whenever it's running on one rotor. If the compression's fine, it's probably not the engine. It's going to be some sort of control thing. There we go. 130 likes. That's a win. All right, at least we got enough likes that we have viewers, so that's a big win. IGN1A the world. Brandon, dang straight, dude. Dude, guys, Buzz rips with the stock style NGK coils. Like the LS coils are hype, or just, I don't know. I was all about it. Ran them on some cars. Misfires, issues. Ernie said he's burned up a bunch of them and had to replace singular LS coils on different kits. I ran stock Revision C coils on the green car for years and never had a problem. And then the yellow car gives me fits. On the stock ones, it flat gets it. Like, it rips. It's way faster. It feels way faster with the better coils, which makes me think like one of them was down for a while. But my neighbor gave me his pretty crappy condition FB and had been half did a rebuild to replace springs and clear carbon engines mid 60 miles. That's awesome, Garrett. I can't read your last name. What seals you should test for a 13B MSB rebuild with a street port? Swoosh, if you're going to just leave it NA, run OEM seals. OEM Mazda, if you're leaving your RX-8 engine NA. If you're going to boost it, I think you really only have like two options, like power seals or rotary aviation super seals. I like the power seals a little bit better. They're easy on their housings. Engine builders tell me to get S4 rotors for my 13B Roo and my FD if I want to make over a certain power. What power would you say you would need to switch to S4 rotors? Hayden, the Series 4 Turbo 2 rotors are lower compression, so you have a little bit more room for error, like with detonation. 9.0 compression is kind of high for a lot of boost, so those I think are 8.6 to 1. I want to run the Series 4 Turbo 2 rotors in my 3 rotor for the top speed car. Two reasons. One, I have them, and two, they're a little better. So they're better for... Yep, there you go. Hayden Dunham. Higher boost, more durable. Nailed it. Joshy Bam, Spanish Shreveport, also thanks for your response. Bam, bam. On the RX-8 Discord server is the easiest place. Wanting to learn how to rebuild a rotary engine down the line, would you say it took you a while to figure it out in the beginning? Initial Drew, not really. You could probably just rewatch this video as an instructional how to build your engine, because we did it in an hour and 20 minutes. It's not that hard. There's a lot of nuances. Like, obviously I didn't clearance all the seals, and I had the rotors pre-assembled. But I have videos detailing that stuff that they're way better than what I could do on a live stream. But at least just understanding how things go together is half the battle. And once you take one or two of them apart, going back together is pretty easy. And I'm not going to say you're going to do it perfect, but it could definitely go a little faster. You'll definitely learn and figure it out. Turbo kit you're possibly making, will it only be for lower compression motors? No, I mean, Timioto Sumolog the third. We're just going to call you the third. Tim the third. The turbo kit I'm going to make can be on anything. Any RX-8 engine. I'm going to really, good and bad, the resounding word I've got from my, let's say, feedback surveys have been that if it can make 300 horsepower, that's pretty good. So I think I'm going to set the kit up to kind of restrict your horsepower into that 300 to 350 range. Some people are going to be mad that it comes with a smaller downpipe and it's not as perfectly engineered, but I do think that you're going to be bolting this onto a Renesas engine. If you're going to build your Renesas engine to make 450 horsepower, then maybe I build a bigger kit for that down the road, depending on the interest. But at the same time, this should be plenty to get you to that 300, 330 horsepower mark. So that'll work on a 10.0. Like my goal is that you could put this on your Renesas engine, so you're going to be putting it on a 10-to-1 compression engine. Yeah, Brandon Chuckles could be here. It would be rad. Just finished the first RX-8 rebuild. It's flooded twice. I started and I got new spark plugs in it too. Yeah, I mean, is it flooded or is it low compression? Have you compressed it, Donkey Man? What would you charge for the rebuild and half bridge? Honestly, Cow Doodles, I'm not really like super in the market for just building engines. I really want to get my top speed car done. But if like tomorrow the top speed super light people call me and say it's going to be another 6 months, then I'd probably rebuild some engines so I can have some cash. Take a lot of pictures for yourself, yeah, for more info. What do you think about bridge, peripheral port, and semi-peripheral porting? Is more is better? Pasha, it's more so what is your... It's just... This is the battle of every guy giving recommendations. What do you want to use the car for? If you're going to all-out road course it, then yes, peripheral port's better. It's going to make more power, more RPM, higher power band. If you're going to drive it on the street, a half bridge is going to get you the sound, and it's not going to ruin the drivability. If you don't want it to buck and kick and drive funny and you don't care about the sound, a big street port makes for a fun driving experience. It's all about what you're going to use the car for. So, would you ship the RX-8 turbo kit to Romania? Dude, honestly, I would ship it to Romania if I could get it, if I could make sure it gets there. Like, I would 100% ship it wherever. First come, first serve was the price estimate. I don't really know the price. Most likely, my plan for the turbo kit is this. I'm going to make the one for my RX-8. The Haltech plug-and-play should be here very soon. I'm waiting on the confirmation from Haltech and from Nishan that it's got shipped. And I'll have the plug-and-play for Buzz. That's why I needed to get it fixed and running in case I needed to build an engine in a week. So the Haltech and the turbo kit are going to get set up on the car at the same time. And then I'm going to take it to Ernie, dyno it with the stock ECU, then put the Haltech setup on it and re-dyno it, and then finish tuning it on the Haltech so we know what's up. And then I'll have a, hey, this is my turbo kit. This is how much power it makes, how much power I made. This is my setup. Then it will go up for sale. At that point in time, once it's tested, I will then decide on a price and also figure out the whole kind of marketing spiel behind it. I forget, what was it? First come, first. Okay, first come, first serve. So my intent with selling them is, in order to like get some capital so that I can assemble the kits, what I'll probably do is do like a pre-order. We'll say I'll open the pre-order up for, let's say, 10 kits. I'll sell 10 kits at like a little bit of a discount so that I can build those 10, and then I'll be able to keep a few in stock that I can then continue selling. That's my plan, at least. So we'll do my best. Do you think it would be okay to make 500 to 550 with the rotors that came in or REW? Oh yeah, all day. You might be able to set over 600 or more and switch to Series 4. Yeah, I mean, you could make over 600 on stock FD rotors. It's not a big deal. I mean, if you're going 600 horsepower, you're going to put it on E85 or some sort of meth injection or something like that to help out detonation resistance. Yeah. Kickstarter might be optional for probably more of a commitment. Yeah, I just don't think there's enough volume for like a Kickstarter. You might say in live the Dizzy Gear tip, gonna check with the bore scope. My timing is off 5 degrees after a fresh rebuild. Yeah, gamer gunk. Don't put this gear in backwards, bro. It'll blow up your motor. It's because the timing that your timing light is telling you is not correct. So you set it to 16 on the gear, but it's actually 23, and then you're running way too much and it blows up. I have a nice, got lost. I see, so like a Kickstarter turbo. Yeah, another nice SMIC stock mount intercooler for my FD that's actually affordable. See, and like that's the weird part. I'm gonna move the camera here so we're looking at the same direction. How's that? I would lower my chair, but it only goes down so much. So the weird part about like the stock mount turbo kit stuff, I don't know, FD stuff's weird because FD people have lots of money, so everyone who makes FD parts makes them expensive, which I don't necessarily agree nor disagree with. I don't have an FD, so it's not really my thing, but I don't know. So would it be wise to pop the front cover and flip the gear, or should I just run weird timing? And if you have the engine in your car and it's already running, just kind of be aware of what's happening with it, I guess. I don't know. Kind of my 2 cents. Thoughts on Atkins seals? I mean, Joshy, I don't really want to like super comment on any sort of brand thing. It's just not my deal to necessarily. Not that I'm not getting paid or not getting paid by any one brand or the other. I think that all aftermarket seals are good in their own right, and I would just do a little bit of research on stuff. So, you know, anything, like I said, boosted, gnarly. I mean, Atkins have been selling seals for years and years and years, so they're not going to be junk stuff. I do have an FD 1320. I'm going to go over to look at the FD to talk about the RX7 / hybrid motors. Do you think the demand will be too low? Compression checker in your workshop, because in your last two I was wondering why you were just pushing compression checkers unnecessary. Pasha, the only reason I didn't compression test the old RX8 is because I didn't think the engine was hurt based on how fast it was cranking over. I could just hear that it didn't sound down on compression. So for the RX8 like hybrid turbo kits, I'm trying to figure out if I can fit the turbo in this. Oh, it's really zoomed in. If I can fit the turbo and buzz in this location instead of the 90-degree thing, I think I might, I don't know. I'm open to tilting it. I, however, am not open to putting it at a 45-degree angle because I don't like the look of it. So for the hybrid stuff, I really think that we're going to test it with this, obviously, when we get the car done. But I really think that a standard style like RX7 designed runner, like just a 2-runner turbo manifold, is going to be better than any sort of 5-runner manifold for the sake of the flow. Oh no, are we down? Oh, we're back. Why was that buffering? Okay. I do think that that's a little bit better just for the flow. Is this thing alive? What's my battery on still? We got plenty. Okay. This is going to get a little sciencey, but I think I can explain it fairly easily. So when it comes to the hybrid in and of itself and flow rate as a fluid dynamics hydraulics guy, okay, there's a diminishing returns in the sake, or there's diminishing returns in the equation of flow. We'll say, okay, so you have Q, which is your flow, and velocity times area. You know, you make the area smaller and you get a higher velocity. You make the area bigger and you get a slower velocity. But once you start introducing pressure into that situation, having too big of an area or too small of an area actually restricts the overall flow of the system. So for the hybrids, I do think that without a custom intake manifold, you're not able to take advantage of the amount of exhaust port that you have. Thus, the RX7 ports create a higher exhaust velocity at that given flow rate, which then allows for higher performance. Because I do think when it comes to exhaust, you're really trying to maximize the velocity in the exhaust, not so much the ginormous flow. Like if you put a 10-inch exhaust on the back of your turbo, it's not going to make any back pressure, and that back pressure is what's helping to create the speed to then scavenge the air out, if that kind of makes sense. So I think like most hybrid setups with the stock manifold are only going to need an RX7 style turbo manifold, and that would be the hybrid option I would make. I've been trying to dream up some way to like block off the RX8 ports effectively, but it's just, I don't know, it's an interesting thing. So, but yeah, I like Wadas. I think they're cool. I've never been around one, but I think that's pretty neat. So, anyways, we've been at this for 2 hours. My voice is kind of going away. I really want to appreciate or say thank you to all of you guys for tuning in. We got this engine built. Very simple little 500 horsepower REW deal going back in the FD. And I'm stoked to I think this is a cool new thing. I don't know how often I would do this. Y'all definitely in the comments on the normal videos, on everything, just, you know, give me some love on the live stream stuff, and maybe we'll do it some more. I really want to do it some more. I'm going to do some more test live streams. I say test. If you're here right now, go to Patreon. Sign up for the Patreon for free. You don't have to put your credit card in. You don't have to do nothing. Just click on the Rad Potential Patreon. When I do these live streams for Patreon only, it will get posted to the Patreon. Okay, for the free members, it's if you just get the notification from Patreon, you click the link, it takes you to an unlisted YouTube live. That's how it works. It's the same as this, but it's just you have to get through it through the Patreon. So they're free, 100% free. Those will happen a lot because it's just not a lot of pressure. It doesn't affect how the channel itself does stuff. I don't know. I feel like I can be less prepared for a Patreon live and just kind of rip into it and answer questions and sit there and do whatever. But on a YouTube live, I really want the YouTube lives to have some sort of a secondary function. I really don't want to ever do a Mr. Rad's live Q&A because I think personally as a viewer that that's kind of boring. So, albeit this one is a Q&A at the end, what I really want is to make sure that we have a topic or something that we're doing that I can accomplish during the live stream and entertain and have fun with you guys. That's my goal for these. So, you know, how many we do on the channel, I don't really know. The Patreon ones are going to happen a lot. I'd really like to try to figure out how to do one of these like at a minimum once a month, if not once every 2 weeks. I think would be really cool. So that's kind of my thoughts for that. Jeff Sneed, join Patreon. Please find her out the FD with the Hawaiian shirt pattern. Dude, I would 100% do that. The FD, Skittles, the FD, we just vinyl wrap it Hawaiian print over all the colors. I think that'd be super fun. Good idea. I'm down. I am totally down. You should do a live stream on a turbo first gen R. We could live stream like stripping the first gen down in a couple weeks, so we got to do that. We're restoring 2 first gens, so we got to blow them completely apart. Once the FDs and stuff are out of the shop, we'll bring those in. The RX7 will get stored for the winter. That'd be fun. Just like a full-on live stream of destruction, like tearing apart a complete car. I think that'd be kind of fun to watch. So when you come into Hawaii, you always have the attire for it. I'm just always on vacation. Tim the Third. That's just my thing. This, like, girlfriend, mom, friends, everyone's like, why do you just drive and go do, like, take road trips or go do this, or why do you spend so much time in the shop? Well, it's like, if I went to work during the day, when I got off of work, I would come here. So this is just what I would do. Like, if my parents are watching this, we took a vacation to Maine the other week. I was over it by day 3. I was ready to go home. I had so much stuff I wanted to just get done here that, like, this is what I want to do. So, fun stuff. Penguin, what are your thoughts on the 192 horsepower RX8? Is that the automatic 4-port one? I know people have been having a lot of success doing hybrids with a 4-port because of, I think, the 4-port intake, because their intake ports are actually smaller, you get more velocity, which then aids in your NA thing. If you do a 6-port without all the valves, it just doesn't quite resonate right, or something, I guess. Not resonate like with whatever, but yeah. Only fun of a manual. Alright, guys. I'm going to jump off here. I'm going to have to go upstairs to shut this down. So, one last little shop tour. Get fired up. Braden Faulkner jumping in here. I think he was in here the other day. Show you all the last few things that are going on. The FD. It's crazy. We stripped and repainted this carbon hood, and all this checkering is coming back, and I hate it. It's just annoying. The rest of the FD parts are here. I got to clean and wipe down a few things. Big injectors, all that. If y'all were here at the beginning, I showed some stuff off a little bit, but I'd like to try to get, if I can get the turbo in Buzz to sit like this, I would. I just don't want to have to relocate the coolant tank, and I want to be able to run an intake tube out to a filter in the bumper. So it'll probably end up, sorry for the shake cam, it'll probably end up with the turbo still 90 degrees and having the thing this way and the downpipe go that way. I think that just kind of works. So for this, I really do like this setup. I mean, the thing you could change is you could clock the turbo and run that intercooler pipe out the bottom and out this side, but then you would have so much empty space that I really like the symmetrical asymmetry of this. I do think, though, on Buzz's kit, when I redo it, that this intercooler pipe is going to go down that way, up to a front mount, and then this side pipe with the turbo 90 degrees is going to go this way, and then down and out to a front mount. So then there's more space for a battery, because I don't want to have to make people relocate their battery. You might have to move it, run a smaller battery, but you wouldn't have to put it in the trunk, and I think that's a big win for the, like, budget RX8 guy. As far as this deal, let's see. I think I lowered the car the last time, so will this just keep going down, or is it on the spikes? I just don't want to make a bunch of noise for you. If I lower this, y'all get to see that cantilever here in a second. Get a little sneak peek of the video coming up. I'm not looking at the chat right now, guys, so I'm just going to close out with a nice little monologue here, talking about cars. Alright, let me make sure it's not binding up on anything. With this being loose, it likes to sit in here a little funky. There we go. Should we just tuck some tire? It's sitting on something on the left side. What's it hitting? Is that block still in there? I bet that my block of wood's still in there. Alright, check this out. So this is how this cantilever is going to sit. What do y'all think of that? So basically, this right here is my shock. It'll go in that direction. There'll be one on both sides. And you'll see the cantilever coming through the quarter like that. This is the rocker right here with the push rod down in there. So, like I said, shocks, I should have them tomorrow. And then, tomorrow I'm busy doing other things, and you won't see this video probably until the weekend, maybe Sunday. But it's going to be insane. You're going to look back here, see the cantilevers. Once I sheet metal all this in, so good. So, all trimmed nicely to the frame rails. I'm happy with it, guys. It's going to look rad, especially if we can sit this thing nice and low. So it is crazy. Let's look at this. Look at this. Look how low the FD is, and look how tall that FD is. We got to get the red FD, my FD, Skittles, super low. So that and the RX-8 dash looks good. Still going to put that big old turbo from the RX-8. That turbo is going to go on here, and I'm going to change the turbo on the RX-8. So that's the fun, like, winter hiatus stuff, but that's that. The Camaro, not that all the rotary people care about the Camaro, but this will be the next rally car for sure. I basically was able to get the car for a super, super good deal after I sold a bunch of parts it came with, so it just made sense to go ahead and buy this one, but I did go ahead and we have the cowl all cut out, ready to put the new cowl in. And I've got my buddy Herb, who does all my welding, actually has, don't hate me, he has a foam LS block, like a foam mock-up block, and I'm going to pick that up from him when I pick up some aluminum he's welding for me. And then once I have that foam one, I can get the engine and transmission stuff kind of situated and start cutting the firewall, and we're going to shove the engine back. That's going to be one of the most rad cars we build. Imagine a Camaro that's like a trophy truck that I can jump and ship it. Like, it's going to be sick. So, back up here, simulator going. Yeah, I showed some of y'all the Hot Wheels collection in one of the last Patreon live streams. We'll look at all those. I think I have almost all the RX7 colors for first gens. And that's not even all of them. I have duplicates in boxes down there. A whole bunch. So, get fired up. I'm stoked, guys. Can't thank you guys enough for tuning into the live stream and just hanging out for a little while. So, yeah. With that, I got a road trip tomorrow to pick up something crazy. It is not the top speed car, but it's worth it. So, get stoked. I am going to sign off. So, thank you guys so much for watching. 2 hours and 26 minutes. I'll be curious to see the total amount of views on this video. Likes are great. Everything is great. Comments are awesome. So, thank you guys so much. We'll do it again sometime. Go check out the Patreon to see more raw live streams. And, yeah, I'm just pumped to be able to do this for you guys and do it for me. So, live a life you don't need vacation from. Keep it rad.